in full color.
Rock and roll!
Where we live life in high definition. Jennifer Moss. I've got Dave and PJ with me. Okay, so today I'm just going to start with this is not going to be a PG episode.
Right.
And
there's
so
children in the room, put them to bed.
Yeah. Listen to this by yourself later if you've got kids around.
Rock and roll.
We are talking about a couple of things. So today it's like concerts for clarity of mind. What fills your cup in the stressful moments of life? So if you've listened to me.
And let's start there because you have a great take on this that is really cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so Jennifer is, introduced this to me a couple years ago, and I think it's brilliant. I've gone to tons of concerts in my life. I think Dave has too. But Jennifer's whole theory with this is when you're having a stressed out day,
like a
shit's going sideways.
A shit day. Like,
right.
You're like,
you're pinching, you're grumpy, she finds a concert and buys the goddamn tickets.
And it might be months away.
Yeah, well, it is months because we're in the thick of things. You're not going tomorrow, right?
And we live in Jerome,
That's
Idaho.
right. That's right. Yeah, so she buys tickets when she's having a bad day, and which I would assume at the end of a shitty season, you're like, I got 8 concert tickets lined up for the off season. It can get a little excessive sometimes.
You can kind of gauge it, and this was really solid pre-COVID. After COVID, it was just like, well, fuck.
But what a cool idea. Like, because you got to buy concerts early, right? Because the tickets come out, you got to do. And what a cool thing. Oh, I'm having a bad day. Let me go and plan something for October.
Yeah,
let me plan something for December.
Something to look forward to.
What a cool idea.
So that is my coping mechanism. My wallet doesn't always like this idea.
Right.
But, and there's plenty of times like this is a year that we're not really doing that many concerts because of budgeting. And I mean, I've still been to 3 or 4 this year. And we're doing fine. It's not like 12 or 15 like it is some summers. So that qualifies what we have a story. So PJ, myself, my husband, my rocker daughter, one of my husband's very good friends, and one of my very good friends took a road trip to Idaho Falls.
Beautiful
Idaho Falls. For a concert last night, which was a Wednesday. We're going to do a little bit of protection here. I'm not calling out specifics, but I'm going to give you enough information that if you are an investigative soul, that you can figure it out.
Let's start with the bands were awesome. We don't think this has anything to do with the bands.
And
right, the bands were great.
And the venue itself was pretty solid.
The building,
physical building,
yes, the physical building
was clean.
It was brand
nice,
newish. Yes. The air conditioning worked great.
Okay, now we're gonna walk you through our evening.
Oh God.
Okay, so we depart from now, mind you, the bands we were going to see, Hailstorm, Lizzie Hale, she's fucking goddess.
Good.
And then
her and her brother, gotta like the brother-sister team, right? The brother's
team.
The drummer, the sister's the lead singer and guitarist.
And they're so much fun. They put on a killer show. I've seen them several times. My daughter, it was the first time she was going to see Hailstorm.
And she loved them.
7th concert.
Right.
She's 12. Like, she's my diehard little, like,
good parenting.
Head banging, like, metal girl. And then it was Volbeat. And you can go into who Volbeat is when we get to that. But they were awesome. Great show. We leave here about 4:30, 4:45.
Because it's a 2.5 hour drive for us to get to this.
We got to get there. And then we were planning to drive back. Okay.
It's a hit and run Wednesday night. We have work to do.
Typically when you have a concert ticket that says a time that the doors open, you assume about an hour later the music will start. Well, there's only 2 bands. There's no other opener. So it was really important that we were there on time. So we're talking about 6:30 before we're almost there. Where we're going to eat.
Because everybody's hungry. It's dinner time.
Yeah,
we've been on the road.
Time. We've been living on jerky and fruit snacks.
Yeah, Starburst and Skittles.
That was the way back. But yeah, so we were on the sugar train the way back. But so we're like, okay, what's close? There's not a lot of options. We didn't drive by one restaurant when we left.
We totally did not.
I wasn't paying attention in the back on the way in. And so we get there. We make a decision. It's about 7.
Right. We rolled up at 7 o'clock, which we thought was when the gates opened, the doors opened. I thought
it was because we had
the concert started
times.
at 8. The doors open at 7.
We saw 7 on one website, 7:30 on one thing, 8 o'clock on one thing. So we figured if we hit at 7, we'd have a chance in hell to get in. We had seats.
And clearly we were right because there was already people in line at 7 o'clock. There's a massive
group of bodies in the parking lot. And so we're like, cool, they haven't opened the doors yet or the line's that long. So we parked because my husband's truck is
massive.
A freaking missile of a size. It's huge. So we park over by the band's
we were next to the band's
we were by the band's
buses. Yes, we were.
We what happens next,
So-
PJ?
One, I very rarely have I seen lines outside a concert venue. Very
Like
rarely.
that.
Once
No,
in a while,
yeah.
not once in a blue moon. It's typically a kind of a small line to get through security. So I have, and I've been to a lot
okay,
of concerts.
I've been to Red Rocks at a sold out show. So yeah, if you concert, just do it.
Well, if
have
don't
you
know
been to
about
Red Rocks?
I have not.
Do you know about this venue though? Do you know what she's talking
Red
about?
Rocks, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've
The
seen
natural amphitheater
Yeah,
in
have you been
Colorado.
to a
No,
show
I've seen
there?
it.
No, God, no, and it's
Oh.
on my
I've seen
list.
it on TV where there's been groups on TV
Right.
at Red
Right.
Rocks, you know.
Bucket
so-
list. Go to Red Rocks. Even if you're just driving through, stop because they have this. Anyhow, they have this museum. They show every single music act that's
Ever
ever
been
played there since it was constructed in like 1905.
Is
It
it that
is-
old? Super,
yes.
super old too?
Yes,
Wow.
they just had to build the steps in. The rocks were already there. And you can't see it from the freeway, but stop. Because you can literally it's giving me goosebumps. Oh,
It's
I
such a
love-
cool place.
I love this place.
YouTube, the Red Rock Amphitheater in
okay,
Colorado.
Google it. Oh my God.
It's a stunning
it is
place.
a straight up spiritual experience.
Yeah, these guys are like, we buy
Spiritual.
tickets to watch them read the phone book.
Yeah,
at this
like
place.
honest to God, I would without question. Like that place is incredible.
Okay, so anyways,
where the hell was I going with?
well, we were talking about
Oh,
lines. Was
yeah.
there a line at a
there-
sold out Red
at
Rock
Red
show?
Rocks, there was a line. Now
I
that
have
was
never,
because
in all the concerts I've ever been, I have never waited in
I
line because
have.
of all the
I have
entrances and things
right,
like that.
right.
You
It's
know,
usually
so
15 entrances.
Right,
You get in and out in a
right.
spot. You go wait in
I-
line for beer and you go wait in line for t-shirts.
I have waited
exactly,
in line so
exactly.
that I can be on the fence at the front.
Oh, now
At
that's a
Red
different story.
At Red Rocks,
Right.
it was general admission show.
Right.
Not all of them are. And so I ended up at
running
the 12th
down to the-
row,
Right.
which still was perfect where I was because they can fit 10,000 people in that venue. So the venue we went to last night that we're not going to
Yes.
name the name of
So we
was,
roll up and there's lines for this place, which, okay, we showed up at 7. There was some confusion as to whether the doors open at 7 or 7:30. So our thought was, in a half an hour at most, they'll crack open these doors. We'll run through security. We'll be into the show. At 8:30,
okay, so
first of all, no one has peed. Sorry, we're going to get gross here real
Yeah,
quick. We've
like-
been in the car for 3 goddamn hours. No one has had a pee. No one has had anything but a starburst. There's 3 women in this car. It wouldn't. I would have not been shocked if one of them said, "If you don't get me to a potty right now, I will shank your ass in this parking lot." It didn't happen, but I could totally see it happening after a 3-hour car trip, right in the heat. We are in line an hour and a half, you
Oh my
guys,
gosh.
to get into this concert event. It's hotter than balls. It's Idaho Falls.
I've never been to a concert where they let you in late ever. Like maybe 2-3 minutes because somebody was too stoned before they
Right.
showed up to
An
their job.
hour and a half.
But so they have people floating through the
some
the
rent a
crowd.
cops,
Yeah, so
some security guards out front
in the
who-
red shirts.
who tell us we won't allow any smoking materials in. I have never had any concert
this is-
take away my cigarettes from ever in my life.
They won't
and-
even let vape pens or anything even into the building.
Is what the guy tells us in line. Guess
Yeah.
what? The security no, that
They
wasn't
didn't
on the
care.
sign. No one gave 2 shits.
So,
So the rent a cops
misinformation.
in the parking lot are like, you can't bring your Marlboros in. So we're like putting our vape, our nicotine back in the car,
Yeah.
thinking they're going. No one gave 2 shits. Like every other concert you've ever been to in your life.
Yeah.
So
No one cared.
Then, I mean, thank God we had beverages.
No,
from your
well, we
cooler.
yes, we came prepared because
Yeah.
we're old people.
soda
so we,
waters and Sprites in the line.
yes,
It
we
wasn't-
had snacks and
didn't-
drinks.
Yeah, we didn't have beers sitting out there.
Oh, we're
we
that
could
old.
have. We
We could have got hammered.
We did hand out drugs. They were ibuprofen.
And
before
we
because-
did threaten to order that was the pre-concert drugs. We are so old. That was our pre-concert party, y'all. 3 ibuprofen for you, 3 ibuprofen for you. And would you like some seltzer water? Party!
Are you sure you went to a concert? Because it's sounding more and more like Black Friday.
Oh,
Okay.
you
we
know,
took a
it's-
12-year-old with
Yeah,
us.
we
So
took a
let me
12-year-old with
let me
us.
throw there was
we
there
were
was
being
some,
responsible. Okay, so
yeah, so
they're tell-
8:30.
So the rent-a-cops are telling us that, and they were nice. I will give
It
them this.
wasn't
This
their
was a
fault.
compliment. The staff there was very polite. They did a good job, but there was some misinformation.
Well,
So she's telling us that we're on the 3rd sound check, and it's the band's fault
yeah,
that the doors are
somehow
closed.
the band's fault that
And
the
we're
doors
just
didn't
like,
open.
we didn't come to a Madonna I'm not picking on Madonna, a pre-Madonna show. These aren't princesses on the stage. Like, sound check should have happened 3 effing hours
No,
ago.
at noon or
Yeah.
3 o'clock is when
Exactly.
sound
Yeah.
check. It's not nowhere
Yeah.
near
So
the concert
we're
start.
here and it's the band's fault. It's the band's fault. So when they finally opened the doors, because
8:30. We've been in line for an hour and a half.
in the sun,
In the
on
sun.
asphalt in Idaho Falls, Idaho.
Yeah.
So we
But
get in.
we get in the door.
the metal detectors, it is, pardon my language, it is a clusterfuck in there because they don't have any of the vendors organized. Did you notice that? They got beer here, and then merch, and then food, and the hallway's this big. And you're like, how the hell is everybody supposed to get through? Now, mind you, this is a hockey arena traditionally, so it's got the box seats. They couldn't have let us in and done a sound check. I get it.
Still
But
don't understand that either.
It was
but
so
whatever.
poorly organized. So, Hailstorm's already on stage.
No, we're in the building 5 minutes, you guys, and the music starts.
Less than.
Literally, so we haven't peed. No one has gotten a drink. No one has looked at a t-shirt. And the music. And to be fair, some of our group went there for the opening act.
Yeah.
Not everyone was going for the headliner.
For Volbeat,
a bunch of people wanted to see
I
Hailstorm.
wanted to see
Hailstorm
Hailstorm.
wasn't the
They were the
No,
opener.
they were the
They were
opener.
the opener.
Oh,
Volbeat
That's what we were dealing
See,
with.
and I don't know.
Yeah, right. But we're going to turn you on it.
I'm an old man. What can I say?
They're like
Yeah.
a metal group meets Elvis and swing
swing.
music. It's awesome.
I'll play you a song.
Not
that-
Hailstorm.
No, this is Volbeat.
Okay.
They're, band from Copenhagen.
Copenhagen,
So
Germany.
they're Danish, right? So
They're Danish. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yep. Dutch is Netherlands. I know I screw up the D's too.
It's fucking.
Anyways, yeah, we're in the building 5
This
minutes
is
and the
why
music starts.
we went with the explicit episode. So thank you.
It's
We
rock and
warned
roll.
you.
There's got to be some
Yeah,
F-bombs in rock and roll.
there's a little bit.
So yeah, it was a shit show. So we're not even done yet because we haven't even gone.
We
to the best
haven't even
Okay,
scratched
so
the
on the way here,
surface.
Jennifer brings up a 5-year-old scab pic for her husband. She's like, boy, you better feed me. Do you remember what happened in 1994 when you didn't feed me and I still stabbed you and your sister?
Okay,
Like,
so
maybe I went back a little too far.
yeah, it was. So my husband likes to gamble. It's not a
that's right.
problem, thank God. But when we first started dating, he was like, "We're going to Cactus Pete's. We're going to do the seafood buffet, and then we're going to make a night of it." And I'm like, "Cool." So I'm going to seafood buffet, and then I'm going to go watch HBO in the room because I don't really care about slots and like that is. It's
not
like
fun for you.
Okay, it's like masturbation without the finish. Like, why would you gamble? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. That's fine. Teach their own.
Right.
I'm into moons and rocks. He's
Right.
just like crazy lady with your zodiac voodoo nonsense. Like,
Right.
it's called marriage and compromise.
That's
okay?
right.
So he took me to Cactus Pete's and proceeded to. There was such a line they couldn't get us on the list until late. He then went and gambled. I hadn't eaten anything. I'm Betty White needing a fucking Snickers. I can't find him when it's time for our fucking dinner reservation. And I almost stabbed that son of a bitch. And I was like, and this happened like, he said it happened once. No, it happened like 3 fucking trips.
So this is the
And then I
conversation
was
we're
like,
having in the
I'm
car.
Never, ever going to Cactus Pete's with you again. Ever in our lifetime. Or dinner maybe ever again. And he pulled it together, made it a point. He said, okay, if I go to Cactus Pete's, I feed my wife first, and then I do whatever I want.
And
That is exactly how you handle
Hold
it.
on, let's circle back because if you haven't seen any of our previous podcasts, Jennifer is a hot mess when it comes to food. Can't eat shit. Every time we try to do something on the farm, I'm like, we're going to feed Jennifer. Someone bring air because it's the only goddamn thing she's not allergic to. I got water and I got air. Jennifer's handled it. The rest of us are having cookies. So my point being,
And
you got to take care of
burgers.
Jennifer because she's kind of a pain in the ass, right? So she's like on the phone trying to find some place where she could eat something because the rest of us, who cares? We could eat at something. Jennifer's like, so he's like, find a restaurant, honey. We'll do something on the way in. She's on, no. The door's open at 7. Hurry.
And I said, I'll just pull a hot dog out of a bun. I'll stick it in some ketchup
Right.
or mustard
And
and
eat.
I'll eat it and I'll be fine. Whatever. I will adapt. Right? I'll
But-
smuggle jerky in my
Still got to
pocket.
feed her. Like,
Still-
let's come back to
So
the
we made the
core.
decision not
who
to
buys
feed me.
hot dogs?
Okay,
at a,
hold on. We didn't
yeah, we're
know.
not there yet.
We didn't know what food was available.
Right, because there's nothing on the
So
website.
there's
Nobody's
nothing on the
showing us
website.
menus.
I mean, I'm trying everything. There's no fast food on the exit. Like
Nothing.
we were just like, all right, you know what? We're gonna take a risk.
There wasn't even a 7-Eleven between the interstate and the
There
venue.
was
there's no
option.
7-Eleven in Idaho.
whatever it is.
Well,
What
it-
you know what I'm saying.
Insert gas
Stinker.
station here. So we divide and conquer, right?
Right.
So we walk into the clusterfuck that is merch, beer, food. Ah, God, there's people everywhere. Where's the pisser?
Did I
Right?
mention the band's already starting?
The
The band start. We've been in here a minute.
So my daughter,
fucking band's
who
on the
is
stage.
peaked, wanting food, who came for Hailstorm, is like about
So-
to convulse. So we get Gwen to her seat.
Was everybody even in the auditorium
Absolutely
not.
before the band
They
started?
weren't even through
Absolutely.
the
Why
doors
wouldn't they
yet.
even hold that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because we're standing
Again,
inside looking out the
so
window going, look at all these people who haven't even gotten
where
in.
we got tickets from, I happen to have a contact there, and I'm going, I asked the question point blank. I said, is this their first concert that they've ever had here? Like, we did not know because we've never been to this venue. And she comes back and she's like, they've been open for a year and a half. I was like, well, fuck. They're not succeeding. So PJ goes merch.
Right. We literally conquered about a couple people got a restroom.
So I get Gwen to the seat and I'm like, I will find you food. I will find you a t-shirt. You watch the music. Right. I've seen her. Our buddy Onyx says hello. Our buddy is sitting with her. We've got set seats. I mean, it's a safe venue. I'm not worried about it because, you know, Idaho Falls is another planet and that it's a good family friendly venue. And oh God, where does it now? Where do we go?
Well, so again, so somebody's in line for t-shirts. We're getting that, right? We got a couple people watching the show. We got a couple people in line to go get food, right? We're literally all kind of hustling and hurrying and, you know, we're just trying to get our shit together.
And it's a cashless venue and all of us only have cash.
We went to the ATM. Oh, I got to buy t-shirts. So not one cash anywhere.
Who's got credit cards? I'm like, all right. So we're exchanging cash and we're just dividing our car. So I get this text message. So PJ's just gotten back from merch. We're distributing t-shirts. And then Brandon's coming with food.
And it looks like he just bought one of everything, right? Because there's 6 of us. Everybody's starving.
It's a massive box.
Right. He's just like, a couple beers and all that shit. Let's go.
Shawnee's got this. She's got all the food. Brandon comes with waters. And so it's a cup thing. And they're 32-ounce styrofoam cups with no lid.
Oh, wow.
Full of water.
No ice.
$5 a cup. It cost them 10 cents. Okay, I go to a lot of concerts. That shit's overpriced. I get it. I need hydration. Fine. There's nowhere to put them. So I get handed something. Open your hand, Dave. Feels like that.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't mean to smash your hand. And I'm like, what's that? And they're like, it's a hot dog. And I was like, that doesn't feel edible. Like, that's a hot dog?
Okay, so first of all, let's go back a little bit because this was the weirdest menu I've ever seen at a concert.
Had nachos, poutine, chicken tenders,
3 different poutines, not a poutine. You want a Texas poutine, whatever the fuck that is, right? I'm not bullshitting. It's Taco Tato or something is the name of the. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was the weirdest menu I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, so first off, it cost $150 and there was no beer.
Yeah,
okay?
that was just the
that
food.
was water and food for
what?
6.
You didn't have beer?
Six people. We did. Water. And food.
Okay. It costs $150.
Yes.
Okay.
$150.
Right, I got
so
you.
I am handed a grenade or a brick. They tell me is food, and I'm like squeezing it like that doesn't feel like food.
We don't squeeze it.
That does not feel like food.
Big fat corn dogs.
Then I had corn dogs.
$39 or something. I don't know what they cost.
And then I'm handed water that is set on top of the corn dog and hot dogs. I can't get to the hot dog or corn dog because we're in these little tiny seats, which is fine. Right. I mean, they weren't uncomfortable, but like we're all in this. And Brandon's spinning, my husband, because he's just watched, you know, we're all manic because of the scenario that has occurred. Everyone in the venue is pissed.
Right, there's some grumpiness.
Pissed. Come to find out, all the VIPs will come back to the food that paid $200 a ticket, didn't get let in. They didn't get to meet the band. They didn't get anything that they expected. Right. And so when we were leaving, I was going to stop and get a Volbeat shirt because I was so impressed. There's VIP guys at the end of the line yelling at him saying, we were fucking VIP. Let us buy the shit that we were. Like,
they wasn't even open. They wouldn't even sell it to them.
They were cutting the line because they were like, oh, you have to go wait in line. And they're like, the fuck we have to wait in line. Do you know the bullshit I've dealt with at this venue? Anyhow. So I have the brick that is handed to me. I've got the foot-long hot dog. I've got water. So we all get settled. And like, I can't eat anything.
Don't forget.
Like, I'm like
right,
this.
Especially big guys. We're doing this. Right?
I'm holding 4 waters. Yeah. And that are stacked on top of the brick in the corn dog. And Brandon's just, he's manic. I'm being snappy. We're having the marriage moment. Looking at my daughter being like, no, everything's fine, sweetie. Enjoy the show. So we get and then I'm wearing shoes that are leather. Like I have these little leather, like fake Birkenstocks on it. And he's like, it's probably going to spill on your feet. And I'm like, I don't want it to spill on my feet. So I'm drinking water. I got like a 5-foot straw, like up my nose. I'm trying to get it down. Finally get it in the little cup holders that are right here because I've got another dude like right here on my knees. And we take a bite of the corn dog.
So everybody has something different. Everybody has something different.
Yeah, like what's every experience? Let's go through the list.
So whatever I ordered came with French fries. I tried 7 French fries. Not a single one of them was edible.
Not.
So literally that just goes under the chair and gets put down. The poor guy next to me is like, corn dog. And he goes, is there any kind of sauce over there? Like, it's a
Ketchup,
dry
mustard.
corn, nothing, dude. I'm like,
They tasted like rubber. I took one bite of Gwen's and I took one bite of Brandon's. That's
nothing. We purchased
mind you,
$150.
I didn't have time to eat lunch before we left.
Right. So
complicated food issues. Shouldn't be eating a corn dog anyways.
My favorite part, everybody's gotten a piece of what they ordered. No one ate anything, right? Everybody has something, a couple nibbles, and there's try. Well, there's a pretzel left with cheese sauce.
Hold on. Let's take care of the hot dog first.
Oh God, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I didn't touch the hot dog.
We haven't even gotten to the hot
girl.
dog. So the brick that was handed to me that I just smashed your hand with, I open it after the water's been distributed.
It's supposed to be a corn dog.
It's supposed to, it's supposed to be a hot dog.
Oh, just a hot dog.
It was just a hot dog and a bun. And he goes, there wasn't any ketchup. I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay. So I open it. The bread is so hard. I can't even get the hot dog out of the bread. So my husband, who is a 6-foot man who lifts very heavy things for a living, he can't get it out of the bread either. And I'm like, I'm not eating that. And Brandon's like, I'm gonna try and take a bite. So he bites into it. I think he chips a tooth. Like he can't even get it in his mouth. He's like, we're fucking throwing that away. I'm like, you think? He goes, I spent $150 on this. I was like, well, after the parking lot shit show, this shouldn't be that unusual. So then there's this beautiful looking Bavarian pretzel.
Oh, okay. So hold on. Yeah. So everyone has had a
we
portion
haven't even
of
gotten into the poutine yet.
No, well,
the poutine was so the equivalent. I had one bite of one corn dog, one bite of another corn dog. I had one waffle fry that wasn't covered in dairy sauces of all different kinds, colors, and tastes and smells. And it tasted like styrofoam dipped in grease. It was like slightly warm. And then we get to the pretzel.
Oh God!
And I will let you I didn't eat the pretzel.
Everybody's had a small portion of whatever they bought, right?
A bite,
a bite or two of what they got.
What was edible,
right? Everybody's still sucking their shoulders in, right? Because you're trying to eat whole drinks and not be in your neighbor's lap, right? There's a pretzel left. Everybody's starving still because no one's eaten anything they bought, right? But there's a pretzel left. So the 3 or 4 are like, great, we'll share.
There's a big cheese sauce.
Three people. The friend of hers takes a bite. Jennifer takes a bite.
No, I didn't take a bite.
You did not? Brandon took a bite, and then they go to their buddy. Hey, you should try a bite of this. And they pass it down. He does the deal, and then they all look. That was terrible, wasn't it? Like the friends were like, please eat this garbage. And they will all agree it was garbage.
It was like
not skip it, brother. This is terrible.
Cardboard that had been out in the sun for probably 17 years.
I think I know
what
happened.
Or sawdust.
I think I know what happened.
I think so too.
I think
made
the
all
food
the
was
food
ready at 7 o'clock when the doors were supposed to open, and it's been an hour and a half under the heat lamps, and it just turned into shit.
And
the French fries were petrified. Everything was hard as the back of your head. It sat under a heat lamp for an hour and a half.
We should have waited.
We were in the parking lot.
We should have waited an hour to eat.
We should have stopped at. We should have stopped at a steakhouse and ate. We could have rolled in at 8:25 and walked right in the goddamn door. We threatened in line that we were going to call Uber Eats, right? And we would have got the food and eaten before we got in the goddamn venue. Had we just ordered the damn pizza at 7:45, we would have been eating pepperoni in the line. Bite me to everybody in line, starving to death. We should have.
It was just, and then Shawnee tried. My friend tried she tried several beers, and she's like, these don't taste good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys had that experience.
Were they watered?
Like
I don't know what the hell. They didn't serve anything in a bottle. So they were, that's why the waters came in styrofoam.
Yeah.
Because they would open a water and pour the bottle of water into a styrofoam cup.
Oh, it at least came from, it wasn't from the faucet.
No, it was in a, because everything behind it was in a bottle. I'm like, cool, that's what we want. No. And again, I think it's the throwing things in a conscious. They don't want you to have a weapon. Right. So everything comes in a styrofoam, right? So they opened the peach hard iced tea and poured it into a cup. I don't think they shoot theirs, but there was a bunch of tap beers, and I don't think the tap stuff was tasting the best.
That is the tap stuff.
Yes. So I don't think.
The venue was clean.
Yeah.
The staff was nice. Okay, so in between Hailstorm and Volbeat, these two guys, they must have worked for some local music syndicate or something. They wanted to do a selfie with the crowd. They're two personalities that locals know.
Idaho Falls radio station guy.
Yeah, we don't know. We're Jerome's a long ways from there apparently on another planet. So we these two get up after the staff in the parking lot has blamed the band the whole time and proceeds to go, oh, there was technical difficulties. The sound guys basically shit the bed. And I mean, they didn't say that, but that was implied. And it was outside of the band's control. And all of us are just like, there was like a collective groan through the whole facility.
Your
like,
fries suck. Boo.
Yeah. Oh God. It was just like, if Volbeat gets up, they kill it. They kill it.
It was a good show.
We get out of there. I mean, I watched the whole VIP merch situation happening. I'm looking at Facebook and people are just blasting.
You said this,
I mean,
so it was not just us.
Okay,
There
so
was
come
other
to find out today, I found out it was the sound engineer team at this facility, and I said to the whole car, I was like, somebody's losing their job today. Without
and is that
question.
what happened?
I have no
Or you
idea.
don't know? But it was a sound thing.
It's sound engineers because Falling in Reverse and Ice Nine Kills is going to be there tonight, and they're terrified of what's going to happen. Because if this happens 2 days in a row, they're going to have massive cancellations from the artists. Not only like, what are they going to do for these VIPs? But and then trying to go home, still haven't eaten.
Yeah,
Let's
that's right.
go back.
No one has fed
that.
Jennifer yet.
Still,
Her petrified hot dog.
She hasn't stabbed her husband. We're no longer having marital problems.
We've just come to conclusion. It's a shit show. It's good.
It's fine.
So Jennifer's just like, I'm just going to get down the road. I'm going to go get me some caffeine and something to eat.
I can't get off any exit because there's
goddamn-
so many road construction. I can't get off in Pocatello. I can't get off at American Falls.
Shubbock is like a weird exit. She doesn't know which way to go. And there went that gas station at 2:00 in the morning, and Jennifer doesn't get any
So I stopped in Burley. Burley's real close to home. I'm not going to drink caffeine at this point.
get all
It's
pumped
like
up
I'm. So we had an excellent experience. Do you have any
Have,
questions?
have you ever been a VIP?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever been a VIP?
Yes,
Not at a concert. I've done it for NASCAR.
I've totally done it.
So back in the day, and I'm going back to 92. So I'm at the Universal Amphitheater.
Big place in
Yeah.
Southern California.
Yeah.
Big
So
deal.
I'm seeing Tammy Wynette, Alan Jackson.
Big names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Randy Travis.
Okay. Big,
Okay.
giant.
Now,
names.
I bought the tickets, regular tickets. The lady that I went with, she wanted the VIP.
Oh hell yeah, she did.
So we get done with the concert and we wait.
Because you're VIPs.
No, we wait.
Okay.
And as people walked out with their VIP,
You get the hell out of here.
hey, can we buy your? Oh yeah.
You and my husband should be friends.
We went into the VIP. So now we're getting to hobnob with Randy Travis and Alan Jackson and Tammy Wynette.
Yeah.
And if you've never done a VIP, I don't
it's
recommend
worth it.
doing it that way. But oh my gosh.
Well, so I've
yeah.
ended up getting invited backstage with 9 Inch Nails and ended up on their tour bus. I've had all sorts of wild shit happen. So you just gotta be in the right place
I got
at the
to
right time.
tour Alan Jackson's bus.
Okay.
I mean, it was cool.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
this is
That's
what-
not
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
gets
I
access.
was
Yeah.
doing it when Trent Reznor got sober,
Mm.
and the guys in the bands were a bunch of douchebags. And we ended up and we were with TV on the Radio was the opener for that show, and we ended up going on their tour bus because they weren't leaving as early as 9 Inch Nails, and they had the nun stripper lady that was taking all their attention with the drummer, and it was just like, no, we'll get off this bus, we'll go with you guys, you're way cooler. So no, I've met some awesome artists, and I've met some guys that are just like, cool, your music's awesome and you're a douche.
We were talking about this
Yeah.
last night. Anybody thinks that's an easy life is
It's
incorrect.
And I should qualify.
You know where the
Trent Reznor was not on the bus I was on,
Right,
so I'm not
right.
talking trash.
about Trent.
Take your PR and attorneys and go away.
Yeah.
That's not what I was talking about.
My point is, so Volbeat, their next show is Milwaukee.
Yeah, a ways away.
So talk about putting two goddamn shows. They had to get off of the show last night, get on a bus, and drive to Milwaukee for their next show.
Yeah.
Anybody thinks being in a band is,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not.
I hope the
glamorous
sex
work.
makes up for it, because that is not an easy life. I'm just saying. I hope all that nookie everybody's getting makes it. I haven't traveled
Sex,
for a living
drugs,
for
and rock
years.
and roll,
Yeah.
It
man.
is not. It's not what it's cracked up to be.
Now,
Yeah.
have you ever done venues where there's just like 100, 150 people?
Yes, I've done that too.
I have seen a couple shows.
and have a
Not
big
that small.
name. So back in the
I ended up watching Dope, like Die Motherfucker Die, Dope in Diamonds in Jerome a couple of years
oh
ago.
really? Wow.
With his stage. It had PE was opening for him. It's
Yeah.
one of my husband's favorites. And I remember when he was like, we got tickets to tonight to Head PE, and Dope is and I was like, Dope? Like Die Motherfucker Die Dope? And he's like, yeah. And I was like,
At Diamonds.
Let's do it. Dude, it was so funny
Oh.
the whole time. Oh, and they did a killer job. I was in love with how they performed.
These small venues
they're
are
so much
great,
fun.
you know, and I have a wide taste of musical. You know, I love country. I love pop and some heavy metal, you know.
Little rock and roll,
rap,
and
Yeah.
Matchbox
you know.
20, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we were
So
talking about that yesterday.
There was a little honky tonk in Adelanto. It was called the Cocky Bull. Okay, so you would have a lot of artists, and it would hold about 100 people, and that's it. You know, so you'd go in, not a bad seat in the house. They'd play for their couple hours. You'd get their autographs, you know, and get their merch, and then move on, right? Well, the Bellamy Brothers came out, so I had to go to the Bellamy Brothers
At a 200-person venue.
Yeah. So they played for about 30 minutes, got upset, slammed their guitars, and left. So everybody's going, is there a refund? No, they're done. A 30-minute set?
Dude,
Wow.
that happened. I saw Nappy Roots over in Twin Falls a couple of years ago, and they were so unimpressed with the venue. They didn't come out until, like, mind you, bars close in Twin Falls at 1:00.
Right.
They didn't come out until 11:45, almost 12. Played for half an hour, and we're just goons the whole time. One of them tried to give me his hotel key, and I was like, "Thank you. Don't want AIDS today. I appreciate it."
Yeah, you keep your gonorrhea plate. I'll
fine.
be tootling over here.
I know my butt looks good. Not gonna do that. I'm not a groupie. It's not what's
Very
happening
funny.
right now.
And it's amazing what you can see in these smaller venues.
Right.
And
Right.
I've been to plenty of large venues and outdoor venues and things like that, you know, all day concerts, right?
Yeah.
Free concert. Thomas Conley. So I'm going back to the early 80s for those that are
Yeah, it was like I don't know any
Yeah.
of these
Yeah.
Me
names.
neither.
So-
What's he
So
talking
he
about?
had like
I
country
feel bad.
and
I
I
feel
don't-
bad. PJ and I have very similar.
he had like
music tastes.
13
Yes, we
number
do.
one songs in the 80s, right?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Okay.
You know. So he's on stage and he's just jamming. All of a sudden his guitar strings break.
Oh, shit.
Fuck! And everything stops. And he's just sitting there.
Waiting for his roadie to come help him. Right.
So they get him another guitar and he picks right back up where they stopped. You know, it's like,
Oh man, I actually watched. It was Sublime with Rome last year or 2 years ago. I think it was last year. And one of the original members of Sublime, the big tall guy, the big guy with the glasses and all the weird outfits. He's part of the original part of Sublime. He was trying to rip his guitar strings to give them to people.
Somebody?
It was a sold out show up in Boise. It was last year. It was Dirty Heads and Sublime were
Headlining.
co-headlining, and just an incredible set. And he watched him struggle with the strings. You know, so PJ and I have ended up we ended up in Michigan 2 years ago after a work conference, the
Yep.
same summer one. And we found out that Korn, and this is right after the pandemic. It was when things were finally like
Right.
concerts.
Just popping back
And
on.
man, people forgot how to concert. Remember being in that crowd and people were so angry if you were getting crowded. It's like, bitch, you are at a concert. There is 15,000 people here.
Calm
Dude,
down.
you're not going to have your elbow room if you want to be at the front. Like, oh my God. Active Verb, that first year and a half, going back into concerts, it's finally normal again.
Right.
Oh God, it took a while though. People, Active Verb they forgot how. It's like when people forgot all their manners for a little while after the pandemic. Well, and some people never learned them back. There's
Or
that.
had them to begin with. But
Yeah,
that different
well,
story.
That's fine. I just like to leave people better than when I found them. But you know,
There you go.
It's
Not flour involved, but interesting story.
yeah. Okay, so let's turn to the actual point of this, which was what fills your cup in the stressful moments of life. So I actually ended up at a concert on June 14th. I went to see Dirty Heads because I always see Dirty Heads. It's
and
my
how many have you seen? How
20.
many?
That was my 24th
There
Dirty
you go.
Head show.
24th.
Yeah, so I've been to well over 200 or 300 concerts in my life. Like, so this concert last night that PJ and I were in attendance of was the only one I've been and had this kind of
Yeah,
experience.
I have been
at.
to a lot of Dave too.
Lot
Like
of
I don't know how
concerts.
many.
I've never had
total.
anything like that.
That's honestly, we said
Holy-
the same thing.
Holy
We're like,
shit.
never have they held us outside. Never have the doors open. Like, why would you not want us in spending money?
Right.
Like, we could have been buying beers and T-shirts for that hour and a half. I get it.
We would have been a lot more drunk and
It's
rowdy.
a rock concert. You know, they do a sound check for the headliner every time. So somebody's going, dum, dum, dum.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
Open the goddamn doors. We'll buy beer, you dopey bastards. Like you could have got an hour more of money out of us besides not pissing everybody off.
They
And the concert starting late, I've seen that plenty of times.
Sure.
They
The
probably
door
lost,
opening late? No.
They probably lost $5,000 every 5 minutes.
No, I'm sure.
No, probably every
more than
2
that.
minutes.
Probably more than
6,000
that, yeah.
people, but that's a
Yeah.
lot of $5 waters for an hour and a half. That's a lot of $12 beers
Dude.
for an hour and a half.
I mean, God, like I said, somebody lost their job today.
Yeah.
You know,
Or got
I went to
fired.
a Merle Haggard and Alabama concert, right? And this was at the Forum.
Another
Okay,
big
so-
venue in
yeah,
Southern
yeah.
California. Geez.
And the program started late. Either
Happens.
Haggard was drunk in his trailer,
Yep.
or he just never made it to the stage.
Right.
You know, so that's the latest that I've
Yeah.
ever been.
And
as
that
far-
happens.
Yeah.
I've seen bands take the stage an hour and a half. I mean,
Right.
late happen, and that you can blame on
But
the
you're
band.
in the venue.
They're busy getting laid and doing drugs. We'll be with you in a little while. I get it.
I need to be level before I hit the stage.
Yeah.
I got scenes to do.
Can't do this set unless I'm hammered. True.
Fine.
These things we've seen.
Fine.
Never have I seen.
Yeah.
We're keeping the
I've
doors
totally seen that kind of stuff. I've seen
it's-
an
closed. And guess
artist
what?
get
I
up
was
and
not
be.
mad at those shows.
I've seen him get up and be so coked out of their brain that they
Right.
can't
Yeah.
function.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen him drunk falling over.
Yeah.
I've seen him lighting up joints on stage. I've seen it all.
Yes.
It's not a big deal. All of that I can deal with. That is part of music. It's a renegade trade.
Yes.
But dear God,
Unedible food and
I-
an hour and a half opening the doors. That
just
was
like,
a little
well,
bad.
and they had nothing on social media. They weren't posting to say, hey guys, update, working through some tech. If they had just
No
done a
communication.
tiny bit of damage control, they could have prevented everything.
I still don't understand why the doors are closed for sound check. No, while I'm
I
eating
have-
my unedible chicken fingers, who fucking cares what noise you're making? I don't give a
I've
shit.
been to shows where there's been sound checks right
100%.
before.
Usually,
So
when you go
it's-
to a show with 3 or 4 bands, there's a sound check
Absolutely. In
every
between.
one of them.
That's right.
Not for the
Because
whole
each of
place,
them have
but
got
they
their own
tune up
setups.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Get a couple guitars, go through it. Nobody
Hailstorm's
cares.
set was cut short. Gwen was like, she didn't play this song. And Brandon and I had assured her that those were likely to be played. No guarantee, but she'd hear at least 1 or 2 of them.
So let's talk about ever said because every concert I've ever been to, somebody bitches about what songs didn't
They
get
did
played.
get played, right?
And
That
here's
is
what
up to
cracks me
the
up.
artist.
Most of the bands we go see have so many goddamn albums, right? Metallica. I have been
Yep.
to almost 20 Metallica.
Oh, I'm so
Oh
about
my
to
God.
pick
Okay.
on you.
But yes, I know because that's what I'm getting
Like,
at.
yes.
So, but my point is, they have 27 hours of music. You're
Right.
going to see an hour, 45
Right.
minute show. They're not going to play 90% of their stuff. And I would say Hailstorm's the same way. She probably has 3 albums, right? She played a
Yeah, I think
40-minute
got
more than
set.
that.
She's
yeah.
got like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Has she been around that
Yeah,
long,
she's
those
been
guys?
around.
Shit.
Yeah.
So this is why she's
Okay,
going to pick on
so
me.
I tell PJ, I'm like, hey man,
Like a month ago.
I got tickets to Volbeat and Hailstorm. I got a couple extra. You want to come with me?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, I know Hailstorm, like a little, but like, yeah. Let me look
Volbeat's
into
awesome.
So he comes to work one day and he's like, I bought all 6 albums. And so in my brain, I didn't ask any questions because I was like, you purchased an
Well, you know,
album in 2023. No, so like I seriously thought he went and found like
I went to Virgin Records.
freaking Virgin Records in Twin Falls, Jerome, Idaho, and purchased in physical. Like, who had all 6 Volbeat albums present in their store? Period. Only Amazon would be able to do that. And like, literally was like, okay, old man. Like, I had to explain to my daughter. I said, you know, PJ is prepped. He went and bought 6 CD albums.
yeah. So
'Cause that's how I
but here's
interpreted it.
Here's the deal. And I do the same thing. You know, I want to make sure that if it's a band that I'm not too familiar with,
Right.
I'm going to buy their music so I understand. Or if I missed an album, I want to be able to know that song. Okay, I've heard that before.
Right.
You know, so I'll play their CDs back in the day. My car doesn't have
Albums, 8 tracks
Yeah.
for you because you're
Yeah,
old.
exactly. Yeah. You know,
He's
I
only a
remember,
little
you know,
older than
my
you.
my 1970 Pontiac GTO, put that
Yeah.
8-track in of the Beach Boys. Absolutely. So I would play this music all the way to the venue.
Right.
Generally, you know,
Kind of
and-
get yourself in the mood. We did.
and I've probably bought a CD on the way out, you know, so I got to listen to the music, you know, so it's that whole music experience. So obviously you were trying to do the same thing. You wanted to get, you know,
Well, my one, I feel like if you're going to support the band, you do that by T-shirts. Band
Right.
makes most of their
that's
money
where they make their
in
money.
a T-shirt.
And
But
tip.
at the
Okay,
T-shirts because
so-
that tip goes to the band.
No, that is their gas money to get to the next spot. That pays the merch guys. It makes it so they can have dinner.
Interesting.
So
'Cause
if
I've
you
never
really
tipped at a merch.
you want to be like
You want to support the
true-
band.
a true advocate for the music that you're supporting, always buy merch. And you don't have to go buy every t-shirt because they're not cheap. Concert
No,
t-shirts
40 and 50 bucks.
40, 50
Right.
bucks. Sometimes they're 80.
Our
they're 80
t-shirt
shirt.
bill was $255. $255. That's what it costs.
that happens.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
God, I just it's okay. We
But
should
30 years
Yeah.
from now, when you're wearing that
Yeah,
shirt,
when-
like,
when-
you know, like
Yeah. Dave
1995,
was at
okay?
this show.
You know,
When
You're gonna-
1995. So
1995.
I was 10.
you know.
I was 10.
Zach said that was the
I
year he
was
was
10.
born.
I was 10. Oh, shit.
I
Rita
also went to that
Wilson.
show in Las
Yeah.
Vegas.
So-
We totally did.
But you're gonna be sitting there and go, I remember when I was
Yeah.
there.
Coming your dinner and talking about the Eagles show back in the day.
Oh, God.
No, what you used to
So
really.
I'm actually so I buy a shirt at every show I go to. And it doesn't mean I buy a shirt for every band that's there. I usually, like last night, I
Just
bought a
supporting
Hailstorm
them.
shirt. I would have bought a Volbeat shirt had there not been a shit show happening when I walked out. I was like, fuck it, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. So I have so many shirts and I've changed sizes quite a bit too, as we were talking about earlier. I actually just got there's a website. It's called Project Repat. And we are in no affiliation. You're welcome to sponsor us. Please know that. But I'm actually going to take all those band shirts and turn them into blankets.
That's just what I'm doing
Yeah,
too.
it's just,
So
I'm
not
stoked
a
about
blanket,
it.
but quilt.
Well,
so
this will be
I
summer.
kinda
I
cool.
pulled this
Yeah.
out of my mom's, you know, because she does quilts. She does a great job, Mom, if you're listening. So,
Yeah, she will.
you know, she's got all of these. I've got all these shirts. You know, not only that, but my NASCAR shirts and everything that. And I saw this at a
you're
a
both
concert or
NASCAR
something.
boys, aren't
So
you?
it's
Yeah, for sure.
We should have
One of the most
explain to me how taking left turns repeatedly. is
So
entertaining
I will tell you that.
episode.
So one of the most family friendly things you've ever seen in your life.
Yep.
True story.
That's fair.
Yep.
You see and here's
I don't have any problem with the culture. I just want to make fun of the sport.
which is fine because some of my favorite
I
bumper
just love
stickers
that
said
the
"fuck the
more-
race, I came to party."
there's something.
But the party's 5 days, Jennifer, not 3 hours.
I just love that you can
we showed
walk
up on
in.
Monday.
There
you
is
can
something
walk-
about when you're in an audience, either in Fontana or
Mhm.
in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vegas is what I say in my
And you've
head.
got 32 cars
43.
But,
coming through all at once. The sound
Yeah.
and the rumble.
When,
Oh, yeah.
when 43,000 horsepower American
Yeah.
cars hit the
Okay.
gas, I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if you're a race fan or not.
yeah,
You
you
go.
are
feel
going.
it.
Yeah.
You
feel it.
literally
Yeah.
you go, okay, holy shit.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
holy
I
shit.
mean, it quickly goes away because they're doing
Yeah.
that 7
Right.
fucking million times. Okay. But the first time you're like, okay, shit, PJ and Dave
Yeah.
are on a song. It's impressive. And then in Vegas, we used to get 300,000 people for the 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't
Oh,
care
yeah.
what you go to. If there's 300,000 people, you're in the fucking game. Like, I am not a college football fan at all. It is on my bucket list to go to a Nebraska game or I would want to go
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
110,000
See
people.
what that actually.
I want to be part of that
Yeah.
party. Like, I could give a shit about college football, but I will go and tailgate with Ohio State
Right.
and go to a stadium with 100,000 people.
Yeah,
Yep.
can you imagine?
There's something
You
happening.
imagine a Michigan Buckeye
Right.
game?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
man.
Not my thing. I would absolutely go. And NASCAR's
When
the
in
thing.
Rome.
You go for the party.
Well, so
The
I
party is off the hook, man. And the food is
Right.
off the goddamn
good.
hook.
really.
I'm not shitting you.
Okay.
So we would work months and months in advance to come up with the menu for NASCAR. And I'm talking about Philly cheesesteaks for 40 people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 7 pounds of bacon and 40 eggs on a griddle for breakfast. Like
Yeah.
legit eat and drunk fest
And the good
for
thing about-
days and days and
And the
days.
good thing about the NASCAR world, okay, now that we're kind of off music,
Yeah.
is that
It's kind
it
of
starts
its own genre.
at 9:00 in the morning. The race might be at night, but there's the family venues. There's
Mhm.
things to do. There's the
That's the
There's
whole-
one more thing
So
in
it's kind
NASCAR.
of like the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
yeah.
So you do obviously
do all
NASCAR's
the
a little
ancillary
longer.
shit.
right,
The NASCAR's
right.
so the first time I went to a Kentucky Derby party, like I'm watching all the hats, I'm watching
Right.
the parade,
Right. The cigars,
the
all of
changing
it.
into my
Yes.
tennis
Yep.
shoes to walk that I paid a
Try a
bazillion
mint julep.
dollars.
Yeah,
Yep.
all of
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. And
It's
I
a thing.
remember the race happens and I'm like, okay, what's
2
next? And they're like, no, it's done. I'm like,
2 minutes.
this sounds like
Yeah.
a bad
Yeah.
night
That
after a
sexual
really
experience.
cute boy.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed.
One more thing, because I know we're probably right. One more thing about NASCAR that I think that's interesting.
And then I have a question.
Haven't gone to lots of sporting events, right? Sporting is us against them,
Right.
right? So it's green t-shirts
Right.
against white t-shirts. So everybody's on a side.
Right.
NASCAR, there's 42 losers every
That's
week.
right.
Nobody's panties are in a wad. Your guy's
That's
probably
legit.
not doing shit.
That's
And you
legit.
see a family of 5 or 6 walking in, honest to God,
Yep.
everybody's wearing a
A
different
different
t-shirt.
shirt.
I love
Nobody's
Your driver sucks.
nobody's
you know,
grumpy.
and
No
it's-
one get your guys probably not doing dick.
Yeah.
There's 42. So it's
Yeah.
a different vibe than a sporting event.
Well, and I watched it in here because we had a bunch of NASCAR fans for a while.
Right.
And we still have a couple, like you,
Oh, yeah.
Tammy. And it was like a whole thing. And you guys had a whole thing going on. And here's the husband calling. We'll call him in between episodes.
Right.
Yeah. So it is what I've experienced locally at our motorway.
Which is fun as well. Local
Okay,
tracks are
so
a
here's
hoot.
the question I have.
Okay.
I seem to think, or I'm under the impression that the more tattoos you have, the less teeth you have. Is that accurate?
The less what?
The less
Teeth?
teeth
In
you
NASCAR
have?
in general, you're
Yeah,
talking?
like
Okay,
oh,
so I'll tell you a
spectator.
quick story
That's-
about NASCAR.
So do I buck the curve because
No,
I
no,
have
no.
all my teeth and
Well,
I'm heavily
I'll tell you a
tattooed?
little
You would
story.
fit in perfectly.
Oh, I would,
Okay, so
but I
that's-
have way too many teeth to go to the local.
Couple cool stories about NASCAR, and I really get into this because it's exciting. So
I'm not picking on anybody. This was just
NASCAR
generalization.
started when the guys came back from World War II and they were looking for that thrill of war, right? If your adrenaline got going from shooting people, what do you do when you come home? You soup up your car and you run alcohol in the South
Yeah.
to keep away from the cops.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where NASCAR started. With the bootleggers would get together on a Saturday with their and they built these cars to be faster than the cops. And those same guys would show up on Friday night and put some money in a fucking hat or whatever and go see who had the fastest car. Right. NASCAR. Okay, fast forward to well, first of all, there's a couple of cool things. The very first race in Daytona Beach, the very first race, right? 1903. There were 300 car manufacturers in America in 1903, not a single paved road. So when they found the sand on Daytona Beach in 1902, a writer for the American Automobile Association wrote, "We just found where Americans are going to break land speed records." Because it was the smoothest, nicest piece. Can you imagine the roads in 1903? Nothing but fucking horse and buggy. You probably could go 1 fucking mile an hour in your car, right? 300 car manufacturers. So this stretch of beach they found over 120 years ago, first car race. They raced cars there until the 40s,
right?
Until the cars got so fast they ran out of sand. And you ready? You know what the fastest speed at Daytona ever was? 220 miles an hour from a steam car in like 1931. NASCAR. Here's what happened in the 60s. Bruton Smith, the guy.
You're full of so much
I love
wonderful random
well, I love the
information.
history. I love the history. I love the stories with
Yeah.
this shit because to me it makes it more real. Bruton Smith, who's the guy that did Vegas, decided in like the 70s, we got to get women to come to these tracks. Dirty, dark, greasy fucking garages. All the fucking teethless rednecks with 3 shaved into their back hair show up, right? No women. So this guy decided,
laughing.
I'm going to build
can
beautiful
visualize
places.
it.
I'm going to make them clean. I'm going to put a lot of restrooms.
Yep.
And he started getting women. And
Right.
it's the number one spectator sport in America. You would fit right. It is 50-50 men and women when you walk into these things. You go to a Las Vegas NASCAR race, you're not seeing rednecks really. I mean, a couple, but you go to Alabama and catch a race in Talladega, you're going to see some toothless redneck tattoo boys. I promise you, right? But in the West, any of the places that you would probably go to, you're going to fit right. It's like a rock concert.
It's pretty cool.
A slice of America.
You ought to go to one just to.
Oh no, I definitely think
Go
like
once.
so. I like to experience things. I'd like to see what things are like. And I was trying to explain to my daughter the other day. I've been to an NBA game when I was little. My dad took me to
a whole different aspect. Seeing it live than I can't watch it on TV.
Yeah,
but I've gone to a few of the Jazz games. Right? It's
yep.
like,
It was a Jazz
holy crap!
game.
This is kind of fun.
I saw Utah Jazz and Arizona Suns when it was like Charles Barkley and Karl Malone and John Stockton, the little guy, and all those. Yeah, like totally. And then like Deion Sanders, who was in the NFL at the time, was like, we saw him walking out
game,
because he
right.
was at the game. And, you know, I say those names in front of my kids and they're like, huh? I'm like, yeah, never mind. It's fine.
I know we've gone a long
All right,
time.
so-
Before we close,
Okay.
famous concert or your best concert, when and where?
Well, I have a top 3.
I base my best concerts on where I got the seats. So it's very much my kid's first concert. There were 7 rows from the front, and I was so mad at them because it took me 15 years of buying concert tickets before I even got on the goddamn floor, let alone got somewhere near the stage. Back when I was going to concerts, it wasn't a mosh pit. You had to buy those seats, and they were really expensive.
Right.
Poor guys like me, you couldn't afford it. So to get from, so it was AC/DC. I was 11 rows from the front. Queensryche opened for them. AC/DC.
Year.
Las Vegas.
Year.
Oh God. 80s, late 80s, maybe. That was maybe
in their prime.
Oh
their
God,
prime.
yes. And Queensryche, I don't know if you know Queensryche. Queensryche's heavy metal with an opera singer.
Right.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Amazing band, right? So they opened AC/DC plays. I just remember this concert. The radio station did a spoof for it, and if you dress like Angus, they take you on stage. And so the very beginning of the show was like 50 Angus. Everybody had their knee-high socks on, their little schoolboy shorts. You know, they gave them all like cardboard guitars. So it was like 50 Anguses like fake rocking out at the show. And then they got rid of those in the show. Really good. That's probably my top because I had really good seats.
So what I'm going to tell this backwards. My daughter's now been at her 7th concert. Last night was the first time she did not either get a picture with the lead singer, get a pick or a drumstick.
Because you're going to these small venues, right?
No. Michael Fronte, their first concert, he came up to the front and took a picture with all 4 of us.
Wow.
After the show, Dirty Heads, every show she's either gotten a set list, a pick, or a drum stick. And then Messer, we got pictures with him. She's been to 2 Messer shows. Like
I've been to a million shows, never got any of that.
And then I was like, you're probably, and I told him, I said, you're stupid lucky you got to meet all these guys. You're not going to get that all the time. Right. And she got a dose of that last night. She's like, why didn't? And I said, no,
welcome
that's
to a
not
regular show.
That's not normal. So yeah, your parents are really
nosebleed seats.
Really fucking cool. Okay. We're cool. I don't know if you know that. You need to remember it now because for the next probably 8 to 9 years,
you won't be cool.
I'm about to be real
right.
stupid.
That's right. You won't
but
be
no,
cool for
so
10 more years.
top concert, hands down, it was Red Rocks, Dirty Heads. But it's because the venue and I truly it was my favorite band. Second was venue based. It was also Dirty Heads, but it was at Mandalay Bay on their beach stage,
which is a
and it was the first.
Yeah.
No, so this will go full circle for you.
It
was the first concert after the shooting that your son was at. So Dave, well, you don't know the shooting at the country concert. His son was involved in, and he was injured, and so
he was right there at the front.
Yeah,
and the ironic thing about this whole thing, him and his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah,
they're now married.
Yeah, they're now married.
2 beautiful children, Dave.
So very, very proud grandpa.
Absolutely. So he was probably 20 feet away from the stage.
Yeah.
And he had sent me a video just a few minutes before it happened. He says, Dad, look how close we are to Jason Aldean.
Oh, so
it's like, I still get goosebumps.
Well, I'm sure.
Well, so I was at the first show they'd had outside since that. And
which was a year later.
It was 2018 in June. It was the end of June because I took off. I was like, dude, bitch, it's hot. We're not going to be selling flowers. I'm taking off. I'm going to a show. So we did a girls trip. We went to Vegas and had a ball. And we were right there on the stage. But it was crazy. We're at Mandalay Bay. And so you got that gold casino with the reflection.
In your ass.
Yeah, right there. But it was so cool because you think that helicopters swooping for security would be like creepy. No, it added to so much ambience. Like it was such a neat one. And then I would say, like, I am so impressed with metal shows. Venue makes a big difference to me. Dave Matthews on a Labor Day at the Gorge. I recommend it. Just go to the Gorge. The Gorge is incredible.
This is up here.
It's in George, Washington.
There you go.
And and you're looking down on a
Devil's
river.
Canyon Gorge, isn't that
something like that? I don't remember specifically.
Yeah,
but it's a killer spot. There's also one that's on my bucket list. It's in Tennessee. And it's called the Caverns, and they can fit like 2,000 people. It's in the fucking ground, like so. It's a cave, and we actually had friends of ours live in Chattanooga, and it's like an hour from Chattanooga, and they went and saw Fronte there, and I've seen Fronte 10 or 12 times. For Michael Fronte and Spearhead, they do a great job, and he played there, and they went to the show because we went to shows with them quite a bit before they moved to Tennessee, and he said it was just incredible. Come over anytime. You stay with us. Well, they do mostly bluegrass, and they have like one rock reggae a year. So I'm just waiting until somebody I'm just like, all right, I'll go for that. Like, I can appreciate bluegrass, but I'm not going to pay for it.
Or days or
yeah, I'm not going to pay for it. Like country, I'm not going unless your name is Garth Brooks. And I haven't been to one of those.
So my best friend has been to more Metallica concerts than me. He went to Garth Brooks. He says the best show he ever saw.
Yeah.
This is a hardcore.
And my sister's been to 2 of them.
Hardcore heavy metal. The best concert he ever went to.
Oh,
so tell you how good Garth Brooks is.
Some of the performers that I've just impressed me. Lizzie Hailstorm, obviously not last night because she was so compacted, but that woman can wail.
Yeah, she did. She did plenty of wailing last night.
She's incredible. I've been stupid impressed with Rob Zombie. He is a performer. I've seen some incredible music.
Some female rockers. I've been to Heart. I've seen Heart in concert. And it's like
that would be killer.
Cool.
Yeah, and I've also seen some classic like I took my dad to Bob Dylan when I was 17. So mind you, this is 21 years ago. He's still touring. He was terrible 21 years ago.
I got a worse. You asked the best.
No.
I know we're sure running out. I got the worst. You ready for this? Aerosmith and Kiss co-headlining.
Wow.
They have an opening band.
It should be
who was
amazing.
supposed to be Saliva, and I'm like, I love Saliva.
I love
Yeah,
Saliva.
Saliva's
I
good.
So
partied with
I literally
Saliva.
went and got bought their CD so I could be up to Saliva cancels. The opening band is literally called the Porch Ghouls, and the dickhead drummer is playing a fucking suitcase in the MGM Grand. I'm like, listen, bitch, I'll give you a drum set. I got a spare in my fucking wallet. Why are you opening for the? Anyways, I'm right off the get go. I'm a little butthurt. But here's the deal. So they rotated nights. So one night Kiss would close, right? One night Aerosmith would close, right?
Okay.
Okay. So which is
I
their
like
co-headliners,
those shows.
right?
I like those shows.
Well, the night I went, Kiss was the second band. So opening and then Kiss. It's goddamn Kiss. There's spit fire. There's flames. There is tongues are hanging out.
the
It's
makeup.
fucking Kiss.
Oh,
Great show. Aerosmith comes out, looks 4,000 fucking years old. Steven Tyler moved this much the entire 2 hours. I'm like, if you can't get a half a fucking calorie up to follow Kiss, you can fuck right off. Like, I understand, like, you're old, but if you can't muster up an ounce of energy after following Kiss, I was bored out of my tears watching Aerosmith.
Oh, see, and I've never
In
been
Boise,
to a bad concert. So.
Right, he's got it.
I witnessed.
Zach, is this a bad concert?
Zach's coming.
three,
Yes, Zach's participating.
Motley Crue goodbye tours that happened. Yep, it was Motley Crue, Alice Cooper.
Them and Elton John.
It was a great show.
Doing it again.
They had that thing where the drummer goes on. Yeah, it goes upside down.
This sounds great.
But I will say, I don't know the
Yeah,
lead
was
singer's
flipping
name.
around. Yes,
Yeah.
fuck yes. The sphere.
He should. Yep, he is worn
Vince
out.
Neil.
Yeah.
You can look it up
And
on
about
YouTube.
wore out.
You can look up
Oh,
his
Vince,
name.
I love you, brother, but sorry,
Isolated
retired, just
vocals
saying.
at like recent concerts. He's not even saying the words anymore. Not even.
Oh yeah,
I have a story.
lip syncing.
Yeah. So when we went to Rob Zombie last year, my husband was really excited because they had Static X, Power Man 5000, and they had Mudvayne. It's the first time Mudvayne's been
Mudvayne's
on
great.
tour for. No, let me tell you.
Yeah. Mudvayne's albums are great.
Okay, so the guy hadn't been on tour for 10 years. Now, mind you, it's a 4-piece band,
right?
right? And this is one of the first ones that I've seen in concert that they have all the makeup and there's the blood and the oh, it's a good. Okay, you know what? I can appreciate it.
Right.
If you can make
It's a thing. You got to sell something. It's a
So
thing.
they get on stage and I'm watching, and this guy's got to be 100 pounds. Like I'm googling, like what
Did he
is this
eat?
guy-
Did he eat the?
Like what does this guy
What
look
did he
like?
look like in the 90s?
Yeah, what did he look like 10 years ago? So he's, dude, he might have. So all of the other 3 sets, like one of them is trim, looking sharp, but really good. And then there's the long-haired guys, the bassist just rocking it, and the drummer just wailing. And like, yeah, so out of the 3 out of 4, they're in touring shape. Let's just say the lead singer is not. Okay, so he is like 150, 200 pounds overweight. Like I'm probably exaggerating a hair, but he's wearing these suspenders, right? And he's slobbering all over himself. And he's
Suspenders.
Okay, so
That's
his
not what I
voice-
want to say. My lead singer.
his voice is getting worse and worse
As
and
the
he's-
show's going.
and he's screaming like, ah, you know, like that, like mock the Hyatt. So Onyx hasn't seen me all night, and she was with Grandma and Grandpa, and so she's gonna keep making appearances. She's very concerned. Mom is here, but he's the security, or she's upset about Mudvayne too. So he's in these suspenders, and all these girls are fangirling over him hard because, you know, what does a rock star have? You know, drug, sex, and rock and roll,
Right.
and he's living it, and he's leaning out into the crowd, and he's got 3 security guards holding on.
Was it like?
And he's just leaning.
3
I used to
guys.
think of that scene in Austin
Counterweight
Powers where
is
Fat
3
Bastards
Ribbon
doing the
Holding
flip, and he's
on
got a
for
crew
dear
holding him
life.
back.
And mind you, there's we're in Usana down in Utah. And there's these 2 huge big screens, and we're up in the nosebleeds in the grass watching this in full high definition
Oh, that's
on both
very funny.
screens. And they're holding on to him for dear life, and we're watching this, and his voice is going and going, and I'm just looking at Brandon like, you are so excited to see this. and he's just like, wow. But here, I got to give him this. He didn't walk away with anything.
Right. He put
He
it all
left
out there.
it all on
Whatever he
that
had,
stage.
he brought it.
Well, he left it all there.
Okay.
And they're touring again this year. And I was like, babe, you want to go? He's like, I think I'm on
Yeah,
wait.
we're
I got
It's
a
fine.
quickie.
We're-
I swear
we're
to
at
God,
an
we've been
hour.
trying to wrap the show for like 20 minutes.
We're fine. I warned Zach this will
This
be a
was
long
going-
one. This
so
will be a long one.
It's funny because we're to the age now where everybody is old, right?
Yep.
These guys, that's why the 6 albums for
Right.
Volbeat. I'm like, oh, they're new. I'll go get their couple of 6 fucking albums that PJ had to buy to get caught up.
Which, in his
Oh my
defense, he
God.
actually got on
So
Apple
good.
Music.
Yes, I did. iTunes.
He did
I
not
got
go
it
to
on
a
iTunes.
record store, even though I thought that's what he said.
So we go to one of these old, it's 70s like rocker concerts. Botman Turner Overdrive is the opening act. Those were the 5 fattest
were-
guys I ever.
Yeah.
The drummer was sitting 40 feet away from his drum. They look like they
Yep.
gave up sex, drugs, and almost rock and roll 20 years ago and decided to just go hardcore cheeseburgers. It was the fattest fucking band I have ever seen in my goddamn.
And they
the
were,
drummer was 80 feet away from
Yeah.
his drum. He's just trying to get his big man belly in. Oh my God.
and
Anyways.
probably one of the most underrated bands of all time.
BTO, they play great music. They were just fat as a house.
And Randy Bachman just died just a few weeks ago.
Oh,
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yes, my favorite band is the Eagles.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite, was from
Yeah, you need a
Right?
close up.
Was that your
that was the
favorite
absolutely
concert to see? Was it
absolutely. And they played for well over 3 hours.
Eagles? Okay.
Okay. So being the fan that I am, we were on a road trip a couple years ago. I had to stop
My other third
in
one.
Winslow, Arizona, because they've got a tribute to Take It Easy
Yes, absolutely.
on the corner of Winslow, Arizona,
Right.
right? And it's like, okay, I got to stop. I got to get that picture. That fan girl. Okay, we're here. We're here.
And for anybody, Winslow, Arizona is in bumfuck Egypt. There is nothing anywhere. It's a town in the middle of the moon.
Yeah.
Because, right? I'm not
Yeah,
lying.
yeah,
Like there
yeah.
is not. You pick 200 miles in any direction. There's not a goddamn liquor store
It was so busy. We had to park almost 2.5 blocks away
from
just
that
to get to
stupid
that
corner.
just to get to that corner. right?
Wow.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it was
All
cool.
right.
My third favorite show. I
Yes.
just realized
You did-
it was last year on my birthday weekend. We saw that Papa Roach was coming to town.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was
Ooh,
Papa
we
Roach,
talked about this last
Hollywood
night.
Undead, and the Bad Wolves. And
Ooh.
I was like, oh, we're doing that. That's happening.
Who was the third?
Bad Wolves.
Bad Wolves.
And it was at the Great Saltaire, which is a mosque on the Salt Lake down in Salt Lake.
Oh wow.
It's like on the lake, and it's March, like 2nd. So it's cold. We started the day skiing and then said, let's go to a venue that keeps all the doors open. So that was cool. There was a family of 17 that had cut me off while we were on the mountain, and I tweaked my knee. So we got there and we're like, and I'm looking, this place is packed. And mind you, it's hard rock. So there's going to be massive mosh pit. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to stand on my knee down there. That's great. So we actually got VIP tickets, and we were like looking down.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's 2 levels. So there's a big center part of the venue. And then there's a stage. Well, you're in Utah, so they have to separate all the alcohol. You can't even drink it down there. So you had to go upstairs to the bars, and they had like these balconies. And so the VIP was looking over the band. And so we could actually zoom in with our phones, and we could see the set lists. So
Oh.
we could see what was going to be played next.
Badass.
Wow.
Yeah, Bad Wolves was a lot harder live than I thought, but they killed it. But then Hollywood Undead, oh my God.
Those-
I will follow those boys anywhere. They are an incredible performers.
Right.
Like, and Dirty Heads, how I ended up at a Dirty Head show, it was 2012. It was my birthday, and I liked one of their songs that they did with Sublime. And they were such incredible performers. I fell in love with them and their music and the whole genre. So it really comes down to performance.
What genre are they in?
And they're rock reggae.
Rock
They're
reggae,
yeah.
okay.
And they have a hip hop like rap thing
Okay.
that they kind of, it's a feel. It's everything's blended now. Everything's
Right.
fusion.
True.
There's
Which is how
there's not solid
art is supposed
country
to be.
anymore. There's old country, and then there's new country, and then there's hip hop.
Yeah.
Have you heard-
Oh,
hip
yes.
hop?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a whole hip hop thing.
Have you seen?
No,
you
I-
have because
Yeah.
your
I
husband
have
loves it.
because we'll be listening to a playlist, and I'll be like, "What the fuck is
Kid
this?
Rock. Have you know what
That
you're talking about? Have you
Jelly
seen any of
Roll.
this?
Yeah.
Jelly Roll. The guy does country and rap. It's great. It's hilarious. It's actually a way to totally energize music. So I appreciate it. But man, and then Papa Roach gets up and just kills it.
God, he's got such a good voice.
Kills it. Jacoby just,
Yeah.
God, that guy is awesome. So no, like it all comes down to go to things that light your soul on fire. That
Yes.
lights my soul
This
on
is
fire.
the stress. Exactly.
Yeah.
Way to circle back and close
Yes.
it up, Jennifer, for our 2
right.
hour
Yay.
podcast.
With that, we're gonna leave you, and I suggest you buy a concert ticket.
Yes.
All right, Bands in Town is the app. That's the one. You plug in all your preferences, and then you figure things out. With that, we invite you to go buy concert tickets, live life in full color, because plain is boring. Thanks, guys.